Well, the sky seems to be clear, which means the excitement is back. Hello, everybody. Welcome to CricTracker show in the air with me, Nivedna Prabhu. We're all excited for the World Test Championship final. After a little bit of that hiccup that happened yesterday, it looks like we have some good news after all. The weather looks much better, but most importantly, is it going to be the men in blue or the men in the black caps rather? So we're going to find out all of that and much more with our experts. For the starters, let me call, of course, Oman cricketer Sufyan Mahmood on our show today to discuss everything about the match and most importantly his predictions. So for starters, of course, it looks like things are getting better. Sufyan, what is your first reaction to that?
Hi Nivedna and hello everyone. Yes, it looks like things are getting better now. The weather is the rain is not happening as of now, which I saw. I hope that it continues throughout the day and we get to see a good play because everyone has been waiting for the play to start. Yesterday was a disappointing day. I hope things can get started from today onwards and we get to see a result. So
Yeah, I
being
think
positive now.
yeah, the most important thing is to see a result and to finally get all of them, on the ground. I don't think
Yeah.
all of us have been so much more excited to see this happen. So let me get our second guest on the show to, of course, continue talking about the World Test Championship final. That is Rakesh Deva Reddy, who is a cricket coach as well as a cricket analyst. And Rakesh, thank you so much for taking the time out and coming back.
Thank you very much, and hi, Sufyan. How are you?
Hi Rakesh, how are you? I'm good.
Good. Yeah.
So, Rakesh, going into this competition, yesterday it looked like it dampened our spirits, but it looks like we're all ready to see what the battle's going to be like today.
Yes, the weather looks a little better, but not 100%. It's not sunny, but it's not wet. So we can expect the toss to happen at 2:30 p.m. IST. So it is something which can be excited comparing what exactly happened in the last day. But we have reserve day, so it is going to be a 5-day test match. But still, we might witness rain again
Yeah.
later in the day, and maybe tomorrow and day after tomorrow as well. But the good thing and the important thing is we'll witness the toss at the right time, like the stipulated time, 2:30 p.m. IST. Let's see how the teams are going to be, because last night we saw Indian fielding coach during the press conference said that we still have the chance of changing it, but it might be a strategical statement from R. Sridhar. What I still feel is India will still go with the same team.
Right. And I think no, none of us have been so much more happier than to see the sun out, right? So, on that note, let me call our third guest on the show, Gaurav, who is a content creator as well as reporter. Gaurav, thank you so much for coming back on the show. For starters, how are you feeling looking at the sun finally out?
Yeah, hi Nev, hi everyone. I think the last day was very disappointing for the fans because we all have been waiting for this World Test Championship final since long. Fortunately, we still have 5 days in hand, including reserve day. The weather in England is unpredictable, to say the least. So all we can do is to keep our fingers crossed. The sun is not very bright in Southampton, but it's partly sunny, so we can expect a good amount of contest at least in the initial half, in the morning session and the major part of the afternoon session. But as per the forecast, there will be rain in the evening session, and all we can do is keep our fingers crossed because after all, this is arguably the most high octane test match ever.
Right. I think, there was a time when people would pray to the rain gods in different parts of India for rain to actually come. Here, I think we're praying for the rain not to come and to get the sun out. But on that note, I'm actually going to get, the weather forecast just to look at what it's going to be looking like today so that our experts, of course, can also take a look and then tell us how this could, of course, possibly affect the game. And most importantly, even the ground conditions, what kind of an effect it would have. But on that note, for everybody who's tuned in, agar aapko koi question puchna hai to our experts, please send it across and our experts will be more than happy to answer. Use the hashtag #AskCricTracker so that they would be able to answer all your questions and also give their predictions, which they're really good at. I'm coming to you, Rakesh, on that about looking at the weather forecast for sure. We've discussed that, but what effect would it have on the ground conditions?
See, definitely the ground will be slightly wet. It won't be the same ground when there is no rain and all. And because of the pitch being covered, we might see the moisture on the pitch, which might help the fast bowlers. So that is
Yeah.
the reason why we all are having the discussion that India will do some changes. But the pitch will really help the fast bowlers, and it is definitely going to be a change what the teams would have initially expected. They might see a different behavior from the pitch, but I would say it will definitely help the fast bowlers.
Right. So, on that note, I want to come to you, Sufyan, about let's talk about the bowling lineup. What do you think the strategy would be for New Zealand going into this competition?
I think, as spoken yesterday, also New Zealand's strength has been going with four fast bowlers. So that's the same combination they will go with. That has been their strength in the past as well, in the recently concluded series as well. But talking about the conditions, I would like to add that the sun will be out on off. So unless it's out for a longer time, there are chances that the moisture will go away and the ground will get dry. But what Rakesh said is right, that there will be a lot of moisture which will help the fast bowlers. So New Zealand definitely will go with their strength. And talking about India, I think India. A lot of people are saying that they will make changes, looking at the weather and looking at the conditions. But what I feel is that they will not make any change because their combination is such that they have a mix of spin bowling and three good different fast bowlers. Who are wicket takers. So I don't think they will make a change as of now. Maybe it's a strategy. That was a strategical statement given yesterday. I hope
Yeah,
that it doesn't happen. I feel they will not make a change. If they make a change, of course, we'll just get to
we'll have to
know
just
later
wait and
on.
watch.
Yeah.
Right. So, considering you just spoke about the toss, we do have a fan question coming in about the toss, and I'll come to you, Gaurav, about that particular question. The fan, of course, has asked about what is your opinion after winning the toss. So, could you give us your thoughts about that? Akshay is asking this question.
No, definitely. I think it's going to be a no-brainer that win the toss and elect to bowl because the conditions in Southampton are cloudy, and moreover, the groundsman at Hampshire has said that the pitch will favor the fast bowlers. It will have pace. It will have that carry. It will have bounce as well. So I think it's going to be a no-brainer that win the toss and elect to bowl. And if you look at the bowling lineup of both sides, New Zealand have bowled Saudi, Wagner, and Jamieson. India have Shami, Ishant, and Mohammad Jasprit Bumrah for that
Bumrah.
matter. So I think top order batsmen of either side who will come on to bat first will have a job in hand. And yeah, I think without any thinking, without any second thought, the toss winning captain is gonna have a bowl first.
Well, Akshay, I
Niv,
hope that answers your question. But, Sufyan, yes?
yeah, I would like to add something to this. We have been talking about the bowling side. If the side that bowls first will have a good chance to take early wickets, but at the same time, if you look at from the perspective of the batting side, who's batting first, if they manage to score runs against such a bowling lineup, may it be India or New Zealand, and in
Right.
these conditions, that will be such a huge confidence booster for them. In the second innings or maybe in the latter stages of the innings, that you have scored against a top lineup and against in these conditions. So if you think from their point of view, it will give them a really good confidence. It will be a confidence booster, I feel.
And I think we'll all enjoy it because the competition will only
Yeah.
get tougher. And on that note, I actually want to come to you, Rakesh, about the fact that, of course, both these teams have gone, all the teams, of course, for the past 2 years did go, but these two teams made that cut. So let's really take a look now at India's road to WTC final, where, of course, probably the only hiccup, like we also mentioned yesterday, was, that loss against New Zealand when it was away. But we also discussed that this time around is going to be a neutral venue. But when you look at this particular team, led by Virat Kohli, looking at that kind of performances that they've had. Overall, how would you sum up India's road to the World Test Championship final?
See, the graphics shows, I mean, it clearly shows 3 home series and 3 away series. I think that's the away series which that's the only one series which India has lost against New Zealand. And New Zealand conditions, and right now the conditions in England slightly favors New Zealand. But if you look at India, India has very top, I mean, very quality batsmen. Let may it be Pujara. Yes, Pujara has not scored century in the recent past, but he's going to play a major role in this particular Test match, because he's a player who really wears up the bowlers and make the bowlers, and make the bowlers get frustrated and bowl some bad deliveries. And if you look at
Right.
the bowling attack of New Zealand yesterday, we were also speaking about this particular thing, that they are very disciplined. They stick to their plan. The thing what New Zealand bowlers are following is they don't pitch the ball on the stump. If you look at the stats or analytics of the New Zealand bowling attack in the recent past, they try to bowl it outside the off stump, and they make the batsmen to stretch and to match to batsmen to really find the ball and play. So that makes I mean, it looks like, why are these guys not attacking the stumps? Because if you look at India's bowling, they try to attack the stumps, but New Zealand, they tend and they make the batsmen to make the mistake, and they get their job done. So that is the strategy they are following. I think they'll still go with the same strategy, but even with that strategy, Indian batsmen can really handle those. If you look at Rohit, he has vast experience as compared to his limited over experience. Test cricket is very less, but still he can manage and he can really play well. And his partner Shubman Gill, who's a youngster, but still he can manage, because we saw him playing very good in Australia, where the ball is bouncy. As Gaurav said, the ball might bounce. That's what the report we get it from the groundsman. So I think
Yeah.
openers will do better job. Pujara, Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli has a half century in this particular ground. Pujara has a century in this ground, whereas Ajinkya Rahane also has a half century in this particular ground. So the batsmen will do their job. I think India can easily manage the bowling attack of New Zealand.
That's right. So I think in terms of you summing up, all the technicalities and of course what is really in store for whether we're looking at the batsman aspect of it or the bowling lineup, it looks like the team looks great on paper for sure. And I think looking at that kind of graph that they've had, which we also spoke about earlier about how Virat said the entire mindset is, it doesn't matter of the fact that New Zealand did win against England.
I think there might be some internet issue with Nivedana.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I think, I mean, looking at that conditions, what do you think? So I think, yeah, Nivedana
Yeah,
is.
so I was sorry about that. There was a technical condition. But I just want to come back to the question of, we did cover the India's, road to WTC final. So I want to come to Gaurav, you about New Zealand's road to the World Test Championship final, also with all that kind of tags that they had as underdogs. Now looking at it clearly, they have kind of probably erased that tag. So how do you look at it if we can take a look at New Zealand's journey to the World Test Championship final?
I mean, I remember the 2019 World Cup. We all talk about that how New Zealand were unlucky to lose that final. I think all that luck has come up here, because if you look at the initial graph, they drew 1-1 to Sri Lanka. They lost to Australia, but the pandemic came in the picture, and there was a difference sort of calculation in the points table. So I think that really worked in New Zealand's favor. And after that, they had three home series against India, Pakistan, and West Indies. They didn't just beat those teams but dominated the contest. So I think they deserve to be here, and they'll be a team to beat in this contest. And unlike previous ICC competitions and tournaments, we can't call them underdogs or dark horses like we used to say. They are the front runners, and it's gonna be a fascinating contest. Although I want India to win, I will not be surprised if Kane Williamson and his boys clinch the title.
Yeah, and I think it's also because that advantage, like I just said, the fact that they did play in England and they beat England, recently. So that could be an advantage for them. The reason why, I would want to really come to you on this particular question, Sufyan, is the county kind of experience that two cricketers definitely have, whether we're talking about Hanuma Vihari or Cheteshwar Pujara. How do you look at that going into this competition?
And if that definitely counts, but the standard of international cricket and county cricket is a bit different. But yes, that helps you to get used to the conditions and to boost your confidence. Now that Pujara will be playing against a top bowling lineup, There's a difference between this lineup and the county bowling at that. But yes, he might be confident because he knows the conditions. That helps a lot. That's the reason we have seen players in the past going to England, Australia before the tournament to get used to the conditions and to boost their confidence. That really helps. But I think this is going to be a new challenge for him. And I'm sure that the Indian batsmen have done their homework. They know what New Zealand is going to come with because they have their technical staff. They have their video analysts. Everything is planned. Everything, all the strategies made before the match. So I'm sure they have a plan against this lineup of New Zealand.
Right. So that, of course, is the kind of county exposure that both these batsmen have had. But I'll come to you, Rakesh, about one player, of course, where it was South Africa's loss, but New Zealand's gain. We have to talk about Devon Conway, the star indeed. So going into this competition, now we can take a look at his stats as well. Definitely a key player going into this, championship.
100% without any hesitation or without any doubt, because the way he was playing England bowlers, let it be Stuart Broad, let it be Anderson, or let it be any other bowler, it was very, I mean, it looks very elegant, and he made the bowlers look very like an ordinary bowler. Because if you look at both the bowlers, Anderson or Broad, both of they have 500 plus wickets to each, but still the guy who is playing the first test match, playing in Lords, made the bowlers look like they as if those guys were the newcomers, and this guy is the guy who is playing with a lot of experience. Not very big feet movement, very less movement, playing the ball close to the body. That is something which is really important for any batsman, letting the ball to come closer, playing under the eyes, and playing it to the merit of the ball. If you look at the way he was driving or cutting it or glancing it, pulling it, whatever it is, he was just playing it with very ease. But a couple of things I really want to see him tested in this particular test match against India is when the ball is slightly coming in. If it is on the body, he's glancing it very nicely. But when the ball is slightly on middle and off, and the ball coming in, he looks struggle with that. And India have Ashwin, who is a very smart bowler who can really trouble batsmen like anything. And I'm really looking forward to see the contest between Ravichandran Ashwin and Devon Conway, because during the England series, with the test matches with England, we didn't see any specialist spinner playing for England. Joe Root was the only spinner. But I think Devon Conway, with the way he was batting, I think he will also come up with his own plan to tackle the fast bowlers like Bumrah, Ishant, whatever, who are the players they play, and even they might have his own plan how to handle Ravichandran Ashwin. So I think he's going to be a key player for New Zealand.
And the fact that we talk about New Zealand, the latest update coming in is that New Zealand has won the toss and chosen to bowl first. So I'll come to you, Gaurav. I think half the prediction is right. Whichever team you said would win the toss would go into bowl first. What is the biggest advantage? Because before you answer that, Simon Doll and Sunil Gavaskar gave a pitch report in which they said that historically it has helped seamers a lot more than spin. Fair bit of grass, which means the ball will certainly seam. And with the overcast conditions, it will also swing. So looking at that pitch report also, which has just come in, and New Zealand going into bowl first, what is your take on it?
It's a massive advantage going to such a summit clash. I think it was on the cards that toss winning captain had to choose to bowl because the conditions are cloudy and the red Dukes ball rather. If the ball is swinging, no batsman in the world is comfortable to tackle the swinging ball. You can tackle bounce, you can tackle pace with precision, but it's very difficult when the ball is swinging. And it's gonna be a massive job for Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma up front because they haven't opened in England in the past, and they are up against whom? I mean, like the likes of Tim Southee, Trent Bolt, who are best in the business. So I think it's a very good toss to win, and the new ball bowlers will hold the key. And again, the top order of Indian batsmen, they have to put up a substantial effort to tackle the Kiwi bowling lineup.
Right. So I think, Gaurav has, of course, set the tone saying that the pressure has just been doubled probably right now because, of course, it's such a high-profile tournament. But I'll be taking a fan question now that we have coming in where they, of course, want our experts to be answering it. So the question from Salman is, looking at the forecast, what should be the strategy for the first 2 days? Rakesh, would you like to take that?
Yeah, I mean, the strategy, like as we know, the toss has been won by New Zealand. So if we have to answer in terms of Indian batsmen, I think the strategy should be just to make sure that they don't lose the initial wickets, because that will really build up the pressure on the batsman who comes up next. So that is
Yeah.
going to be really tough job. And both the batsmen, Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill, like how Gaurav mentioned, they are playing. I mean, they are opening for the first time in England. So they really have that thing in their hands. They have to really play the ball. It really doesn't matter how many runs they score in the first session or so, because I'm really expecting I mean, we might not see 90 overs or 98 overs of play today, because there's rain going to come at the later part of the day. So though
Yes.
these two batsmen just have to make sure they don't lose the wickets, but in terms of in the process of not trying not to lose the wickets, they should not be under the shell, or they should not be under the impression that they just have to play very defensively. They just have to play to the merit of the ball, but they don't need to take that advantages. If you look at India playing in India, they can really take the chance, because they know the conditions. They play in India. They have been playing in India right from their childhood. But in this particular conditions like England, and on this occasion where they are playing for the World Test Championship, so they just have to be a little bit careful, but not
Yeah.
getting into that shell, and try not to lose the wicket for at least for 1 hour. I think their job, they are going to do their job if they are not going to lose the wicket for the first half. But in terms of New Zealand, if you look at Trent Bolt during the practices in Mumbai Indians camp, Trent Bolt was always troubling Rohit Sharma by hitting his legs. So that is going to be a really important contest between Rohit Sharma and Trent Bolt. And if you look at
Yeah.
other bowlers, Team Saudi, who has already took 5 wickets during the England series, and the other bowlers are also really doing well. I think the same strategy what I just mentioned before, they'll try to make the batsmen to find the ball and make the batsman to play the ball away,
Make the
because it,
mistake. Right.
yes, it will assist the swing. So the fielders, I mean, the slip fielders and the gully fielders will be in business. They'll be ready to take the catches initially.
Right. Sufyan, I'm going to come to you about this particular update that we have in terms of the New Zealand squad. There was a lot of discussion about Ajaz Patel, but the news coming in is that Colin de Grandhomme is the all-rounder and no Ajaz Patel. So how do you look at that?
Yeah, so as I said before, New Zealand will go with their strength. This is what has happened now. We were expecting Jas Patel to play, but uh, there was a lot of talk that Jas Patel might play. But uh, as I said before, New Zealand were very certain to go with their strength. So with looking at the
Right.
conditions, this was coming in. And for now that the toss has been won by them, they will make sure that they get early wickets and put pressure on India. Because if they get them out early in the first innings, then India's in the back foot.
Right. Gaurav, I actually want to come to you about the fact that, of course, like you did speak about how whoever wins the toss will go into bowl. And I want to, really get your opinion about the ball that is being used in this World Test Championship final, right? Like when they're, of course, playing with the Duke balls, what kind of a difference does it make? If you could take a look at the different kind of balls that are, of course, used, the ball comparison. And Gaurav, what is your take?
See the Duke's ball under England conditions, under cloudy conditions, is like a party for the fast bowlers because every I think in the New Zealand camp there would be a fight. I mean, all the four bowlers would be like contesting that I want to take the ball or I want to take the ball. So because it's a very big challenge for the opening batsman to tackle the Duke's ball in such a surface which is going to assess the pacers and under cloudy conditions. So I think, as I've mentioned before, the team who bowls better in this contest is gonna clinch the title. And Duke's ball, I think the fast bowlers are definitely going to play a massive role, and that's the reason that New Zealand have gone with not four but a five-man pace attack, including calling the grand home. So I think Indian batsmen they need to buckle up because if they don't, then we soon see scores of like 24-3 or 44-4, something like that.
You're just breaking the hearts of a million Indian fans out there when you're making those predictions. Rakesh, I'll come to you in a very particular comparison, or rather interesting comparison, especially with the so much talk which Manjrekar had been speaking about this one player, of course, Jadeja. If you look at the recent past, his average is better than Ben Stokes. Or if you really talk about that, perspective, how do you look at, player like him coming into a competition like this?
See, earlier, not just Sanjay Manjrekar, but a lot of players were unhappy with the way how things were going for Ravindra Jadeja, because he is always included in the team as an all-rounder. But if you look at uh, maybe let's go back to 2 or 3 seasons back and look at Jadeja's performance with the bat. He's always there with the ball. He's always there with the field. But if you
Yeah.
look at his batting performance, he was not up to the mark. He was struggling to get 30s, 40s. I mean, he was getting 30s, 40s, but he was not able to convert those 30s into 50s or 70s, because he comes in a situation where it doesn't allow him to score a three digit run, but there is always a chance for him to convert that 20s to 30s. But later that, I think he went back to domestic cricket. He played domestic cricket in between, and he might have really he reanalyzed his skill as a all-rounder in the team, I guess. That's where the things have started fall in place, and he started batting really well. Let it be IPL, let it be with Australia, let it be with England. I mean, not with England, but let it be the tournaments, whatever he played during these 2 or 3 seasons, his batting has improved really well. I think a couple of days ago, I was watching a VVS Lakshman's interview, and he says Ravindra Jadeja can be included in this particular World Test Championship final as a pure batsman as well, because of the options what we have. So that itself shows how much he has uh, come up as a batsman, not just as a bowler. And the other added advantage to him is he does a tremendous, great fielding efforts. He is really absolutely amazing. And as
Yeah.
in CricTracker only, I think there was a poll who is the greatest fielder, and most of them said Ravindra Jadeja as the second best fielder in the cricketing history. But I think if you look at the modern day cricket, I think Ravindra Jadeja is the number one fielder. And in terms of bowling, he has all the variations. He can really trouble the batsman. And in terms of batting, he has really improved. He has come up with that lot of maturity, because earlier he used to throw his wicket, but right now I don't think he's throwing his wickets. He's just making sure that he knows his place, his value in the team as a batsman, not just as a bowler. So I think India would be really happy with the way things are going for Ravindra Jadeja with his bat, along with his ball and fielding.
Right. So, on that note, of course, you've spoken about how, with the fact that you did see that interview and seeing him being used as a pure batsman as well. But we'll have to see how that's going to pan out. But on that note, we're definitely going to take a look at the playing 11 that is coming for both the squads. India, of course, had spoken about the playing 11. They've not gone for any changes there. But if you look at the New Zealand playing 11, you have Tom Latham, you have Devon Conway, Kane Williamson, of course, Ross Taylor, Henry Nichols, BJ Watling, Kyle Jamieson, Grant Home, Tim Southey, Neil Wagner, and Trent Bolt. Now, this is probably the kind of combination everybody was looking at. So, Sufyan, Gaurav, who would like to take that in terms of New Zealand's playing 11? Is this the kind of combination you guys were expecting?
Gaurav,
Uh,
go ahead.
Yeah, I think both the sides have gone with their strength because you look at India, they have gone with two spinners and three pacers. On the contrary, New Zealand have gone with a five-man pace attack. So this shows that both teams are backing their strengths. That they are not going to play something like out of the blue. They want to stick with their strengths, and that's the reason. Ajaz Patel, I think initially he was in the scheme of things. If the play happened tomorrow, I think. Over Colin de Grandhomme, he would have been in the 11, but
Right.
given the overcast conditions, he was included in the side. And India, I think they are very much confident with this 11 because everyone is talking about that two spinners shouldn't be playing in a track like Southampton. But we have to see who are the two spinners. They are Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja, two of
Yeah.
the best spin bowling all-rounders going around. So I think they will hold a massive key. And it's not like that if the conditions are damp, if there's moisture in the surface, spinners might not play a role. Jadeja is persistent with his accurate line and length,
Right.
and Ashwin, he can purchase turn from any track. So I think both teams have gone with their strength, different strategies, and it's gonna be a fascinating contest.
Taking a look once again at the squad, if you could look at the playing 11 of both the teams, Sufyan, I'll come to you about this. When you're looking at both the squads, can you tell us about, according to you, one key player from both the teams who can really, let's say, even if you're picking a bowler, someone who could really trouble the batsman from the opposition?
I think if you look at India, I would obviously pick a bowler because the conditions favor bowlers. I think
Yeah.
Jasprit Bumrah can be, very dangerous for New Zealand. And if you look at New Zealand, Trent Bolt or Saudi, one of them maybe, because Saudi has a lot of experience. Trent Bolt also very experienced. Uh, and I want to add another point to what Gaurav said about
Yeah.
Jadeja and Ashwin. People have been talking about why two spinners. We have been talking about their bowling only. We have seen in the past they have scored runs as well. And with coming into this match where the conditions are difficult for batsmen,
Yeah.
they can add some depth to the batting as well. They have scored runs in the past as Ashwin or Jadeja. And of course, with their bowling, we don't have any doubt with them. We have seen Ashwin getting turning out of any track. Jadeja has been very consistent with the line. But the thing is, they add value in the batting lineup as well.
Yes.
The batting lineup goes deep. So that is another point which I thought is the reason why India is going with both of them.
Right. So I think that looks like a great positive note. If when you're looking at both
Yeah,
these playing 11s, of course, it looks really strong on paper, and of course that's why it
yeah.
makes the competition all the more exciting. But I also want to talk about a few milestones. Rakesh, I'll come to you on this. This is one of those topics that we've always had about Virat Kohli as captain. So very interestingly, most Test matches as an Indian captain. Virat Kohli currently 61. How do you look at that? There is pressure as a captain. There's also pressure about that much awaited century that all of us are anxiously waiting for. But as a captain, how do you look at it going into this competition?
So I think this is definitely a great milestone in Virat Kohli's name, because MS Dhoni has taken the captaincy from MS Dhoni, the most successful captain in the history of Indian cricket. And after taking his captaincy, he was having some struggles as a captain. Many people were commenting, saying that this guy doesn't have the captaincy skills and all. But the experience and the way things have come up, and that the number itself shows 61 matches as a captain, most number of games as a captain for India. I think he has been a successful captain. He has evolved himself. He has matured with his tactical things, not just with his batting skills, because his batting is always up to the mark, and he's always up to the mark with his batting. But in captaincy, I think in the last 2 3 years, I think he has come up really well with his tactics, with his way the things he take up with the players, or the way he gets the best out of the players, the way he handles the players. Yes, he is very aggressive with his nature outside, but he has different kind of attitude when he deals it with the players. So that is really helping him. We only look at the aggressive side of Virat Kohli, but there are many other sides of Virat Kohli, which really makes the team atmosphere comfortable. The players are very comfortable with the captain, because that is the most important thing in any team. The players should feel comfortable with the captain. The players
Right.
should be allowed to talk to the captain. The players should be allowed to discuss. But many were criticizing that the Virat Kohli doesn't allow the players to do that, but that is not true. I think he does everything in a positive way, and he gives the feedbacks. He takes the feedback. He allows the people to speak. He allows the people to give their ideas and all. So that itself is making him do all this stuff. So this is a great milestone in on Virat Kohli's name. And in terms of pressure, I don't think it will be any pressure or anything, because in the press meet itself, he has mentioned this is a test match which this is another test match which we are playing. We are not going to really put ourselves under pressure. So I think there won't be any pressure as a captain or as a player. They'll do their best.
Right. So I think a true Virat Kohli fan has spoken, if I could say it that way. Or, I mean, we're all fans of the Indian skipper. But I actually want to come to another milestone. Gaurav, I'll come to you on this. Very interestingly, 200th international match for Trent Bolt. Going to be creating some magic there going into the 200th match.
I think Trent Bolt has been a vital cog of this New Zealand lineup. If you look at the past few years, I believe the 2014 was the year when the New Zealand's rise as a cricket nation started, and Trent Bolt played a massive part in it. Being a fast bowler, it's very difficult to play consistently all three formats, but he has been doing it. Beat Test, beat ODIs, beat T20Is. He has been running in and he has been giving it all. So kudos to him. He has already, if he'll be a legend, if he is already not. But I think 200 international game, and he would be raring to make this occasion even more special with a 5 or 6 wicket haul.
Yeah, so that is probably a dangerous note to be troubling the Indian batsmen, and 200 and counting, right? There's still so much left for Trent. Sufyan, I'll come to you about one particular player, of course, who's been doing so well, right? He's of course had his ups and downs, shares of ups and downs, but in the Australia series, of course, we saw his magic. It has to be Rishabh Pant going into this World Test Championship final, looking at his stats, looking at the kind of player he's become. What kind of turnout are you expecting for him in the World Test Championship final?
Rishabh Pant, in the past we have seen he's a kind of player who who doesn't care about the conditions or wicket or whatever. He's someone who goes with his own mindset, with his own positive mindset. Today, I think it's the same thing. He will be going with the same mindset of playing positive cricket. That's it, because he is someone who likes to dominate the bowling lineup, opposition bowling lineup.
Right.
So going into today's match, I'm sure he doesn't have anything in his mind about the conditions or about the pitch or whatever about the opposition bowling lineup. I think his thinking is always to go and dominate the bowling lineup. That's how the bowler will change his line. If you go and play defensive cricket, the bowler will get more confidence. He will keep his line at the same place where he bowls. That channel where bowlers get good purchase. So if all it's to all the batsmen actually, if they go and punish the loose balls, I'm sure New Zealand will have to come up with another plan. They should not feel the pressure of the conditions or losing the toss, or it's a big final and we have lost the toss. I'm sure they're professional enough to go and play their natural cricket and dominate the opposition bowling lineup.
Right, and it's also interesting because you've seen so many young Indian players really, change, especially, the kind of high pressure tournaments, whether you're talking about Australia, and to see players like Rishabh Pant really come out there and, show their caliber, which, and obviously kind of expectations, increase in competitions like this. So looking at his stats would be really interesting to see what he's going to be doing in the World Test Championship final. But Rakesh, I want to come to you about this particular player, and also with the fact that we have spoken about various statements made about him in the recent past. I know you're going to downplay it, but I really want to know your opinion about Ashwin and the overseas playing condition, and who has made comments about him. But keeping that aside, how do you really look at his stats? What do you think? Because a lot of the viewers are asking about whether he is the right choice in terms of overseas condition.
See, yes, I know the guy. I know the player who has commented on him. But putting all those aside, because it's not about the numbers, but it's about the performance, which really makes the impact on the game and changes the result. And he is that kind of a player who can really change and who can really make the impact on the game. Yes, he might not have that 5 wicket haul in Sena countries, but if you look at his bowling and his mindset and the way he comes up with his tactics to handle the batsman, he's really amazing with his mindset. He's not just a cricketer, he's a smart cricketer. And in this particular game, if you ask me whether including Ravichandran Ashwin is the right choice or no, without any hesitation, I would say not just in England or India or wherever he play, I would really say that he should be included in the team, not just with his bowling, but he can bat as well. That he has clearly showed it during the Australian series. But in terms of bowling for this particular match, I think Ashwin should be there in the team. Yes, it depends on the weather condition. But if it is going to be sunny on day 3 and day 4, this guy is going to make a big impact, because New Zealand has 3 left-handers and one of the left-hander is in great form, Devon Conway. So I think this is definitely, he needs to be there in the team, not just for his off spin, but because he's a smart cricketer who comes up with his own things where he struggles the batsman and gets it wicket. So that helps Team India a lot. I think there is no question about his performance. Yes, 5 wicket haul, and putting all those things apart, he's a cricketer who needs to be there in the team for this particular test match.
We're hoping whoever did make that statement has got this answer of Rakesh. It has reached the place where it's supposed to. Gaurav, I'll come to you on a particular player, Ishaan Sharma, as well. How do you look at that going into this competition? Because I think, in terms of the questions coming in, is that Ishant has great numbers, in England. So looking at that, what is your take on him, as well as the certain conditions he'll be playing in?
See, experience is above everything. If you have experience, I think you'll be a player to watch out for. I remember Ishant touring England in 2011, 2014, and then 2018. He performed very good in all the test matches. But if you look at, if you're talking about Ishaan Sharma, we should focus on his rise in the past few years. He is now able to take regular wickets because of his fuller length deliveries, and I think he's going to be a player to watch out for. He's someone who's not very injury prone. He has been a warhorse for Indian Test team. He will run in, he'll bowl the overs, and I think he could be the dark horse. I mean, we're not talking a lot about Ishan Sharma, but he can trouble New Zealand batsmen in this highly anticipated encounter.
On the opposite side, Sufyan, would want to ask you, a batsman who would probably, let's talk about troubling Indian bowlers, right? Tom Latham, how do you look at him going into this competition? And would he be definitely a key player?
I think, yeah, definitely he is going to be a key player. Not only him, and if you see in the last series, all the batsmen, New Zealand batsmen, they have contributed runs. So I think not only Tom Latham, but all of them, India has to get them out early. The secret behind New Zealand's victory is that the batsmen have been scoring runs, the bowlers have been taking wickets. It's a team game, so it's all coming in together. So not only Tom Latham, of course, his stats are outstanding. He's going to be someone to watch out for. But I think I feel it's going to be all the batsmen, New Zealand batsmen who India has to make sure. I mean, they have come with a plan. I'm sure India has come out with a plan. I hope
Yeah,
they implement them and get them out because if when they get started, they know how to score runs in these conditions. All of them, all the
right.
New Zealand bat because these conditions are similar to the conditions in New Zealand. So I think not only him, all of them are. India has to come out with a plan and get them out early so that they can win this Test match easily.
When we're talking about getting someone out early, it really talks about those mouth-watering clashes in terms of key battles. So, Rakesh, I'll come to you on that. To look at Tim Saudi versus Rohit Sharma is one thing which you did discuss a little bit, but also Virat Kohli and Saudi. Is that a key battle to watch out for?
Yeah, of course, because if you look at Team Saudi, he's a very good bowler who can really trouble the batsman with his line and length and his consistency. In the recent past, his pace has gone down because we always see the keeper coming up and standing up to his bowling. But
Right.
I think, if I'm not wrong, Team Saudi has played in Royal Challengers Bangalore as well. So that will definitely help Virat Kohli how to handle this particular bowler because in the nets, even if you are playing for different countries, but when you're coming and playing in a franchisee cricket, obviously you'll get that attachment and you'll get to know about the player's strengths and weaknesses. So that will slightly help Virat Kohli to handle Team Saudi. His pace might have gone down, but he can still really trouble the batsman. But more than Team Saudi and Virat Kohli's contest, I think yes, both of they will have their own strategies. More than that contest, I think it is really going to be a great contest to see how Devon Conway is going to handle Ashwin.
Ashwin, right.
Yes.
Gaurav, I actually want to come to you on the fact that Saudi and Rohit, of course, Rohit will be facing the first ball. So how do you, look at that? There's already enough pressure in a way. What would your take be on that?
I think Rohit, I think he has been a team man. I saw a recent interview of Shubman Gill where he narrated that how Rohit gave him the confidence that I would take the first ball, you go at the non-striker and see what's happening. So I think he has been a team man, and it's gonna be a stern challenge for him because the conditions are cloudy, and he is going to face the new Duke Cherry.
Yeah.
But he'll be a player to watch out for. He can totally take the game away from New Zealand with his attacking shots, and I think he will hold the key for India rather, in the first session.
Right. Rakesh, a lot of swing on the first ball. How do you look at that? Questions are coming in about this particular, observation. What would you like to say about that?
So it is really going to be tough to handle the swing. But if you look at the way how Rohit Sharma bats, he bats with his less movement. But the important thing is he is a very good timer of the ball. If a batsman is a very good timer of the ball, that means he has that thing of allowing the ball and reaching and getting that contact with the ball at the right time. So that's why we see very good timing from Rohit Sharma. Even with his less feet movement, I think he can really handle the ball as well. The only thing is, I think he has to handle Trent Bolt really well. Otherwise, other bowlers he can handle well. And if you look at Shubman Gill during the England series or during the Australia series, if you look at the way when he's playing on the offside, I saw slight things where his bat is slightly going away from the bat. So when the ball is swinging, if the bat is not close to the body, that is going to trouble him. So if I think he might have focused on that thing, and right, maybe we might see he playing close to the body when the ball is there. When he plays, when he defends it forward, when he defends it towards mid off or mid on, I think he's very good. But when he's trying to play it between covers and point, that's where the
Yeah.
bat is slightly going away. So I think he must have really worked on that. But playing the swinging ball, it's really going to be tough. If both the batsmen, Rohit and Shubman Gill, can really handle it for the first 1 hour, I think they'll get that confidence, and then later it becomes slightly easier than the first ball what Rohit plays.
Sufyan, I'll come to you on this question about thoughts on offside balls. Fans are of course asking about this particular thing as well. What is your take on it?
Offside balls as in for Shubman Gill or for in general?
In general.
In general, okay. In these conditions, if you talk about this length, I think initially it's better for the batsman to just analyze the wicket. That's the way to do that is to leave the outside balls, outside off stump balls. The length which is line length outside off stump, you can let it go initially. Once you settle down, once you get your confidence, then you can of course go for it. But in these conditions, as we have seen in the past, it's a strategy by the like Rakesh said before that New Zealand bowlers have a strategy to bowl outside off stump and get the batsman go for it. So India of course knows that, and the only way to let it go is initially you can let the ball go, and once the bowlers get frustrated, they will come into your zone. So you have to frustrate the bowler, don't give them the wickets, and then definitely things will go in your own way. That should be the strategy for India as of now, I feel.
Right. And, there's a lot of, reports coming in, and also in terms of the fans really making these observations that every ball is swinging a lot. So Gaurav or Rakesh, who would like to take that, and, put a kind of thought to everybody asking
Niv,
this?
can I add something to this? A lot of
Sure,
swing,
sure, go
a
ahead.
lot of swing, a lot of swing will never disturb the batsman as much as little bit of swing. I mean, the slight swing, because that is somewhere where batsman finds it difficult, or maybe slightly late swing. Batsman find it difficult to play their shots. If it's swinging, like you're saying that swinging a lot, I think it's not going to be a problem. It's very predictable when it swings too much.
Yes.
I feel that's my opinion.
So Indian fans were really bothered about that. I hope Sufyan has given you some sort of composure about it. But of course, the competition has started finally after that, anticipation that all of us had. We're definitely going to be looking at, who is ultimately going to be winning the championship. But before I wrap up, I definitely want to come to you, Gaurav, first. What is your prediction? What is going to happen? Tell us quickly.
I think, as you said, the ball is swinging a lot. So I think the openers are going to hold the key. At the end of first session, I'm expecting the score of around 65 for 1 at least.
Okay, that's quite an interesting number with an interesting, number of wickets also he's given. Rakesh, Sufyan, your predictions. Who would want to go first? Rakesh, would you want to go first?
Yeah, I think both the players, because as the comments are coming up saying that this ball is swinging a lot. I think if it is swinging a lot, India will play really well. Maybe 1 wicket, I guess, in the first session. Maybe India might lose 1 wicket. Otherwise,
And what
they
is the
both.
number you're going with?
Regarding the score, I'm not very particular, because as we have spoken in the earlier of the show, score runs are not going to matter in the first half, or at least I would
Right.
say for the first 1 hour in this particular day, because later part I don't think the play will be possible. So score is not a matter. They just don't want to lose the wicket.
Okay. And Sufyan, what is your prediction before we wrap up?
I think rightly said by Rakesh, score is not going to be their thing to go for. think two to three wickets I see in this session.
Okay, that is okay. So one person is saying one, and Sufyan, of course, has said 2:3 or 2 or 3. But one thing that everybody is asking about, I wanted to wrap up, but it looks like the excitement is just continuing about this. In terms of Trent Bolt, the comments coming in is that Bolt is attacking to Rohit. Directly at his legs. Who would want to take that? And this competition is only, right from the beginning has created this amount of pressure. Rakesh, Gaurav, who would want to take that?
Yeah. See, I think that is the strategy which Trent Bolt will be going, because Mumbai Indians bowling coach Shane Bond during an interview also commented saying that that is going to be a strategy for Trent Bolt to attack Rohit Sharma, because he has troubled Rohit Sharma a lot during the practices in Mumbai Indians. As we earlier spoken, saying that these guys are the disciplined guys, they just go with that strategy, process driven guys. So he is
Yeah.
going to really make the really going to hit the legs of Rohit Sharma, and he waits for Rohit Sharma to make mistakes. But patience is going to be key. Let's see how Rohit is going to be very patient with the way how Trent Bolt hits the legs.
Right. So I hope it answers the question for everybody who is, probably, wondering what is happening, because I think everybody's really commenting about how he's attacking to Rohit's legs, and considering, Gaurav also spoke about maybe that one wicket going initially. Obviously, nobody would want Gill or Rohit Sharma's wicket to go, but then that's probably the kind of competition we're going into. There's so much of anticipation, and also both the teams look great. They're also looking to win. But like the predictions have come yesterday, all our three experts said that New Zealand might just have the upper hand, but the competition has really started today. So we will have to wait and watch who's going to be lifting that championship after all. But I have good news for you. We will be coming back to be discussing everything to do with the World Test Championship final. So stay tuned to CricTracker. We will be seeing you very soon. Until then, I want to thank all our experts for coming on the show, and all of you who are tuned in. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.